This thing working? I think it's working. What if anybody can hear me? No special reason for going live. Sometimes it's easier. How about this camera here? I think it's working. Who's going to let me know if you can hear me? Where is the thingy on here? Man, I just don't do enough of this shit, do I? To stay familiar with it in my head. The how-tos. All right, somebody let me know if you can hear me. Nothing? What do we got? Oh, there's the speaker. Speaker says we got to turn the sucker up or what? Where are we? Loud and clear. Vaden, right on. Loud and clear. Here I am. Look at the meat. The redneck is back. Collar's all out. Sarah's usually on my shit. I don't really give a shit what I look like. Here's a funny one this morning. So all my stupid hats, they will look at stacked up in the house in my jackets, and then all of a sudden I'll just grab a whole bunch of my shit under my arm and I'll cart it out to the shop here and I'll hang it up in my coat rack over here. This morning I had 4 hats hanging in by the back door of the house. I grabbed all 4, stacked them on top of each other, and I put them on my head because I had my coffee in one hand and I had something else in my other hand. And then I came in here and I forgot I had 4 hats on my head. I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to do the live stream on my Mac laptop, and it kept saying I can't live stream off the Mac. I got to download Chrome and all this bullshit. I'm like, oh my God. So I went back in the house and I got this one, which is the whatever it is, the other flavor of laptop this is. And Sarah starts freaking losing her shit, laughing her head off at me. I'm like, what's so funny? She's like, you've got those hats are still on your head. Didn't you know that? And I'm like, nope. So that would have been kind of funny for you guys, right? Especially if you didn't say anything to me. Whatever. Like I would have got embarrassed. Never. I could actually probably sit here in my underwear on the camera. I don't give a flying shit. What abs? Everybody has underwear on, mostly. Now, everybody's awake across the planet. I'm almost awake. It's kind of pissing rain. I got to sling 100-pound hay bales up over a freaking wall into a container this morning, so I'm putting that off. And I got a lot I can scratch out here. Who's all here? Where's everybody from? What do we got? Darren Lewis, Australia. What's up, mate? Piken B. Todd, Laura, Eric, Ann, Julie, Benjamin, Laura, William, Flosky. Uh-oh, this shit's going too fast for me now. Rusty, Baden, Julie, Laura, Rusty, Todd. It's going quick. It's funny how many people use an alias, isn't it? Online, they use an alias. There's some weird ones out there too, isn't there? People come up with the weirdest names to use online. I don't know why myself. Haven't a clue. We're talking about that secrecy thing the other day too. You know, when somebody puts a picture of their vehicle somewhere and they fuzz out the license plate. It's like, really? Seriously, what is a license plate going to do for you today? I mean, we pass them every single day on the highway, right? Oh, better blacken out your license plate or somebody's going to come and kill you. Said nobody. Not today. You know how long it would take for anybody to figure out where I am physically on the planet right now? What? 11 minutes tops? Whatever. Whatevs. Now, what's going on here? I've got there's a man named Richard Hucklebridge. And Rich Germeau, if anybody was here the other day, strongly suggested I get a hold of him because where I'm going with this topic right now is I'm a millennium past even thinking about looking at a footprint in the dirt. Or maybe a dermal ridge. Or how about those mid-tarsal breaks, right? Or even setting up a trail camera. I want to get to the I don't know why I'm being directed. My gut is screaming at me to investigate the communication part. Beyond all the other horse shit, it's like, all right, let's just get to this other section here that I'm curious about, which is whether or not we can communicate smoothly with these beings. I know there is a dark side of spirit world out there that can really mess a person up. I don't want nothing to do with it. But I want to talk to people, as many people as I can, who claim to allegedly be in contact or smoothly communicate back and forth. And I'm not talking a couple of grunts here, broken English, or hey, I'm going to pass you a marble and thin air bullshit. I'm not saying it's bullshit. It's just like it doesn't have my interest. I don't care. Am I aware you can do that? I'm aware of it. Moving forward. Okay, you can make shit appear. You put a knife in my backpack. Note taken. Let's move forward. Right? I'd be an idiot if I sat here talking about my knife coming and going for the next 5 years straight. Just like I feel somebody's an idiot if they keep on looking at stupid footprints for 25 years. Anyway, so Rich explained to us about whatever or whoever it is, absolutely described what's going on inside his house through a person miles away. Whoa, right? He felt a little violated and he shut that shit down right away. His gut screamed, that's wrong. This isn't cool. I'm out. And I take note of that. Take note of people I have respect for and I see as quite intelligent and not damaged in any way. And when they share with me what their gut tells them, I take note of people's gut messages. I really, really pay attention to that because I like to think I'm in tune with my gut, right? So Rich shuffled me towards a man named Richard Hucklebridge, who has been a member of the group. I don't even remember the name of their website. Not so much I follow organizations. I don't. Rich was there. He was there. Dave Plass is there. A few other people. So anyways, what I'm saying is this just gentleman has been digging for answers for a long frickin' time. And it sounds like he actually dug alongside the right people. And he told me that he spoke with the woman who relayed that information to Rich. He spoke with her for 5 years before they sat down and allegedly had a direct conversation back and forth with these forest people. Way to think of that. So, it's taken me a little bit. I finally got a reply from this morning. I said, okay, man. I said, my time changes by the second. But right now, I think I can pull this shit off a Zoom thing to share with all of you what he knows through me. And he finally replied this morning. He just has to get up to date with his Zoom stuff. I said to him, I go, could you please just make sure it's a solid connection, right? We've had a few people on here that do the good enough connection with the Zoom call and they're freezing up, breaking up, and that sucks dick, especially when you're really listening and getting their knowledge across, right? Sucks ass. So he replied this morning, said he's in. He just has to get a little bit of assistance to make sure that his shit is hooked up straight. My words, not his. I know I got a potty mouth. And then we'll sit down and we'll speak with him. So, do you see what I'm doing here? I am investigating the communication thing through as many people as I can who I feel may be legit when it comes to that chunk of knowledge, that category, the communication part, to assist in me and my gut to make a decision for me and my ride. Because I'm telling you right now, my gut is not excited with enthusiasm telling me, just go now. You know where to go. Just go there now and do it. Said my gut not once yet. Being straight up. And did that stop me from pursuing people communicating with these beings when I was in the States? Obviously not. Did I not send everybody the pictures of my head completely infected for over? Holy shit. It was all I could do to stay there as long as I could with my friends. My eyes still haven't fully recovered from that either. It kind of sucks. And no, I haven't seen a doctor yet. I know. It's weird. It's like, I've never had something like that happen in my life. That was freaking the shit out of me. Even when I finally had to pull the pin and go home, I had to drive 2.5 hours, and I was scared shitless my last half hour driving with my vision. So, anyways, there you go. I've had a few people blowing a gasket saying I absolutely dropped them and you didn't do what you're going to say you're going to do. Listen, you fucking idiot. My head was infected. My eyes were swollen shut. And I'm I'm in another country, right? Anyway, enough of that. So there you go. So that's what I'm doing right now. Because my gut is not pushing me to do it yet at all, really. I want to talk to as many people as I can who may have communicated smoothly back and forth. And this is one of my first solid leads through people I trust. So we'll take it from there, right? And we're all sitting here at the same coffee table, right? There's nothing practice. There's no bullshit here. If it gets shared, we share it together, man. Somebody says don't share it, we don't share it. But as far as secrecy and me goes, all you people that need the secrets, ram it up your ass. I don't give a shit. Right? Sorry, I can't follow the comments at all when I'm spracking off with my caffeine induced state. What's going on? Everybody still here? Probably getting shit for not going to the doctor, I'm guessing, but whatever. All right. Similar infection, Chris. Yeah, sucks, man. That was brutal, that infection. It was so gross, too. Yep, ram it. Everybody can ram it. The pricks can ram it up their ass. Now, what else was I going to say? Obviously, I don't practice shit on here, but I will have a couple things to mention. What's going on in the globe today before I dive into my smooth reading skills. I listened to what I do last night. I woke up. I don't know what time I woke up, and then I put in a couple ear pod, whatever you call it, hook it up to the phone. I caught a couple of videos. One was by that channel Redacted. I follow them not all the time. Sometimes when they come up with a topic and I've got time to listen, I'll listen to them. I'm not like an avid chronic follower of every single thing they pump out. They pump out a lot of shit and I don't have a lot of time to listen. But one thing that they were throwing the alarm about with some journalists from Europe, the United Kingdom, and here who have investigated this was they were coming up with the people that are being planted in North America and Europe, the Western countries, by the thousands, by the millions, apparently. And what they're saying is they have proof that a lot of these people are paid by NATO, possibly. Maybe that Soros dude. This is the point I'm getting to. But I'm going to get there. But I just took notice because I've heard this rumor a few times about the possibility of these NATO forces taking over in North American and Western countries. It's like, sounds a little far-fetched, but I'll put that little note on a shelf in the back of my head where it's sat for quite a while. And then all of a sudden I'll see another post from that UFC fighter, ex-Special Forces Tim Kennedy. And he put out a blatant post on his shit saying, and he's obviously connected, right? And he just put a post out saying, hey, you know those blue helmets that they wear? Just so you know, your deer round will penetrate that helmet. And that's all he put out for his post. And I'm like, whoa. All right, note taken. But then it's like rumors, you know what I mean? You always hear the rumors and the so-called conspiracy theories and hear rumors here and rumors there. And then all of a sudden you keep hearing them a lot from various sources. And next thing you know, those rumors are valid. I guess it's an open discussion with everybody right now. I don't know if you're aware of all this shit or not, but confused about is, obviously something's coming. I can't put my finger on it, but my gut is screaming something's up. I've geared up my home here for us to be okay no matter what happens because I'm not a dumbass, but it's just hard to imagine. I don't know how many people are here listening, but picture this one. A bunch of brand new immigrants cross the border, make a nest. Let's just say, let's take the United States as an easy example, right? They get planted, flown around, which is easily proven. People are getting flown around. They're actually being given credit cards and houses and blah, 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 blah. Rumor has it a lot of these people are military trained. These journalists even said where and who trained them. Legitimate? I don't know, but I'm listening because I've heard this rumor for over a year now. So I'm listening. You got my attention. I got a little shelf right here for that topic. But I have a tough time picturing that going down and being successful, especially with my brothers and sisters south of me. I just can't see it going down. Just in the state of Alabama alone. I mean, good God, you would not have a chance in hell. I don't care what uniform you got on or what helmet you got on. The majority of my friends in the States, in their communities, if you showed up on a street corner with a loaded gun and getting ready to point it at the citizens, I got a real tough time picturing that being allowed to go down for more than 5 minutes. Your ass is going to be grass. And I know a lot of you out there may agree with me. A lot of you, I'm sure, would agree with me. So it's just such a hard thing to picture. But everything's gearing up that it just might be legitimate. What would happen in Canada if that went down? What would happen in Canada if that went down would probably happen just like it went down in World War II when the Nazis flew into Norway, where my parents were. My dad said flat out, planes came down in Norway. There's like maybe about 30 seconds of machine gun fire, and that was all she wrote. Norway was now under the control of Nazi Germany, just like that. So I got a funny feeling that's probably how it would go down in Canada. But I got a lot of friends who I know that if that did go down, I'm just talking out of my, we're just having a bullshit session over the coffee table, right? It's almost like we're talking about a movie script. Well, I guarantee you, if that did go down here in my community, I know of quite a few guys that would start picking those dudes off in the night. Without a doubt, shit would start boiling, without a doubt. But it'd just take a little while longer in Canada. But United States? Nope. Maybe in the big cities it would go down quite easily. They might be able to pull it off in the big cities in the US like New York, San Francisco, without a doubt LA, but I don't know, man. I mean, I love my American family. I love them to bits. I love my American family so much. If I could sneak across the border, if shit went down, I'd sneak across the border to fight alongside my friends in a second. Effing second. But I don't know. I mean, just one of my friends just ordered a belt-fed machine gun for his back 40 wagon to pick off wild hogs. You can do that in the States. And the guy he was purchasing it from legally said he can't keep up with orders. Right? There's citizens in the US who own belt-fed machine guns. Okay, let's just take some dude from I don't give a shit what country, but not from the US, and all of a sudden shows up on a street corner in the US with a loaded assault rifle and points it at US citizens. That's not going to last very long. No effing way. Your ass is going to get capped. Right? Okay, there you go. Sorry, I'm starting to babble on a topic, but it just came up. I listened to it. These people are very concerned and they're terrified it's going down, and this is going down, and this is what they're going to do. Well, my reaction is, if I was an American, bring it. Come on into my hood. We'll see how long your ass lasts. It's not going to last. It's not. They're going to get cleaned up real quick, like, guarantee it. But not in the big cities. But as soon as somebody starts pointing those guns at U.S. citizens and they're not from the U.S., you're done. Done. What do you guys think? Am I right? Okay. I can't read two things. What else do we got here? Got that covered. All right. Here we go. Now, on that note, though, I wonder, with me attempting to, I try to inject a little bit of truth here and there as we go, tidbits at a time, right? So that this channel doesn't get completely obliterated out of the water. And like yesterday, what did I say? I said, if it's like talking to a classroom, okay, you got one project tonight when you go home, just one. No other topic, and don't go any other rabbit holes. Just all you got to do is try to confirm to yourself that the current government in the West is made of criminals. That's it. That's all you got to do. right? That's all you got to do. But I always I am always curious of what it's going to take to motivate the people because you are special. Every single one of you is very special and you count. You weren't born and given this lifetime to obey and follow the lead of another human being to the point of what it's going down today. You're not. This is very wrong how it's going down. And I know that, and I have zero respect for those pricks. I don't do what they say. But I always wonder what it would take to motivate people. You know what I mean? Like, you know how many people are just falling in line and they're not motivated and they can't fight back because they don't have it in them or it's been programmed out of them or whatever's going on. And then that's why possibly I'm bringing up this topic of maybe what just might be coming down. And then you try to picture how it would happen. And if it really went down, would that be enough to motivate you to do something? If some dude that didn't speak English had a blue helmet on and some camo clothes and an assault rifle, and next thing you know, he's standing on the street corner in your community with a gun. What? Right now, what are you going to do? What would you do? You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to picture what's actually going to motivate people to have enough of this bullshit. Is that what it's going to take? Right? What are you going to do? Well, you can't do anything. Yes, you can. First off, you don't fear death, and then the game changes. When you don't fear death, the game changes drastically against the bad guys. Anyway, there you go. There's my motivational bullshit talk on that topic this morning. I guess maybe because there's such a vast audience here, I'm just trying to share with you that there's a little shelf in the back of my head where I keep there's probably 150 shelves in the back of my melon, and they all got various topics just sitting there waiting to be triggered by another little addition to each shelf. And I keep getting these little notifications of the possibility of that horseshit going down. So, and I feel it may be worthy to pass it on to you guys. Maybe it isn't, but I'm doing it. My gut said to do it, so I'm doing it. Remember? Every single decision I make with my time is made by my gut. Gut says, drop that seed on the people. Okie dokie. Seed dropped. Do with it what you want. Take from what you will. Or leave it. All right? But I did it. My gut said do it. I did it. Now, before we all get fired up and start frickin' loading guns, let's hear a little more from Bobbie Shortall. Right now, this man who she spoke of, John W. Byrne. A few people thought it might have been a typo and it was that Peter Byrne or whatever. Remember that other dude was a big game hunter or something and he made it in front of a bunch of cameras. It's not him. This is a dude, John W. Byrne, B-U-R-N. No mistaking about it. Now, let me do something here. I want to try to. You'd believe the setup I got going on in front of me. I got shit stacked up to bring this camera to the right height, but I want to lean my book on it because I'm lazy. There we go. That can work. There we go. So, let's hear from the late, great Bobbie Short. Here's continuing on with her book that was mailed to me a few years back, not published. The John W. Byrne story continues. At the time, Indian Agent Burns. That's a weird title, isn't it? Indian Agent. I don't think that's a thing anymore, right? Said anthropologists all over the world were interested in the existence of these hairy giants. Certainly that isn't the case today. Anthropology generally takes a dim view of Bigfoot research, calling those of us with sightings delusional. One East Coast anthropologist made himself quite clear when he said to me, "Don't bother me with this rubbish." Oh, the poor thing. In 1942, the University of California sent an expedition into the British Columbia wilds. No shit. 1942. University of California sent an expedition here in my backyard. Crazy. Into the British Columbia wilds in search of the Sasquatch people. Let's reread that word. People. Members of the expedition were equipped for a lengthy search. Learning about Burns, the expedition members sought his assistance in enlisting the aid of First Nation guides and trail packers. The story is picked up there. Quote, in spite of the fact that they were offered $10 a day and all found, not one of my Indians would volunteer for the trip, declaring that such a quest was doomed to failure. The Sasquatch, detecting the approach of so many strangers, would immediately go into hiding. The academics from UC Berkeley set out without native helpers, but in less than a fortnight, they returned, gaunt and trail weary. Needless to say, they had discovered no race of wild men, and they vowed that so far as ordinary white folk are concerned, the route to the top of Morris Mountain was utterly impassable. Pussies. Kidding. They were very disappointed at their failure, of course, and a few days after their departure, ironically enough, another of my Indians claimed to have encountered a Sasquatch. The Indian, an old man named Chehalis Philip, had previously told me that his younger days he often saw the hairy giants. On this particular occasion, he was fishing for trout in Morris Creek, a tributary of the Chehalis River. Well, those locations are going to be pretty easy for people to find, right, on their Google whatever, Earth or maps. His canoe was gliding quietly along the sluggish mountain stream, close to the rocky terraced bank, when without warning, a rock was hurled from the shelving slope above, falling with tremendous splash within a yard of the canoe, almost swamping the frail craft. Startled, Philip hurriedly glanced upwards and observed a huge man, covered in hair, leaping down the steep declivity with the agility of a panther. Under one arm, he carried a bulky object that proved to be another boulder. Reaching a point of vantage, the giant deliberately slung the big stone straight at the now thoroughly scared Philip, missing the canoe by inches. Believing that the Sasquatch was about to dive into the water and attack him, the old Indian cast off his lines and paddled frantically. And then Bobbie goes on to say, not all Sasquatch are aggressive or unfriendly. Apparently, their individual characteristics are just as widely developed as those of ordinary mortals. That witnessed by what an Indian named Henry Napoleon had to say. That's funny, that last name Napoleon sounds familiar to me. I think I know some Napoleons, native friends. The first time John Burns found out for sure that the wild men still lived around the Chehalis Reservation, Harry Napoleon told him, quote, I didn't see any of them. Then 3 young men and myself were picking salmon berries on a rocky slope. In our search for fruit, we suddenly stumbled upon a large cave in the side of the mountain. The discovery greatly surprised us, for we thought we knew every foot of the mountain, but had never heard of a cave in that vicinity. Just outside the mouth of the cave lay a big boulder. We peered inside the opening but could not see anything. Gathering some pitch wood, we lighted it and began to explore. Before we got very far from the entrance, however, we came upon a sort of a stone house or enclosure. We couldn't make a very thorough examination for pitchwood. Typo. For our pitchwood torches kept going out. Finally, we left, intending to return in a couple of days and continue our search. But the old Indians, to whom we told the story, warned us not to venture near the cave again, as it was undoubtedly occupied by Sasquatch. But we paid no attention to them and went off to examine the cave once more. To our great disappointment and surprise, we found that the big boulder had been rolled into the mouth of the cave, fitting it as tightly as if it had been made for the purpose, and we were quite unable to move it. Henry Napoleon continued. Some years later, I was out hunting deer in the same neighborhood. It was just about dusk. I saw something I took to be a big bear standing on its hind legs, but when I stopped and raised my rifle, the creature spoke in a tongue very much like my own. He invited me to come closer, and when I did, I saw that he was a man over 7 feet tall. His body was very hairy. At first, I was terribly scared, but his eyes looked kind, and he asked me to sit down and talk. He told me that during the winter, the Sasquatch sleep like bears. Hold on a minute. He told me that the Sasquatch sleep like bears, and their home is on top of Morris Mountain, where no Indian or white man could ever find them. They live on roots, fish, and meat just like us Indians. Then it suddenly grew dark and he slipped away. Well, from what I've learned on my own, that Sasquatch, if he allegedly did communicate with it, was lying through his teeth. Because we've seen how many footprints in the snow. I've spoke with a friend of mine's wife is in Whistler search and rescue, and they found in the middle of winter going downhill from the Wendy Thompson hut, which is off the Duffy Lake Highway, 17-inch footprints going straight down the snow down towards Mount Currie, middle of winter. Doesn't sound like they're hibernating to me. I saw a trackway going all the way along Duffy Lake. I was just coming home from taking my trapping course in 100 Mile House, and I think it was like -30. It was freaking cold out, and you could clearly see that trackway on the other side of the lake going all the way down the lake, heading from Lillooet towards Pemberton. And I'm always nervous about ice. I don't know enough about ice, so I don't venture on ice in the middle of nowhere by myself. I just don't do it. I don't know about it. And everyone's, why do you go across the lake and go take pictures? I'm like, because I'm not going across the freaking lake. I don't give a shit. I don't know enough about ice myself. And trackways don't really interest me that much anymore. I don't give a flying shit. But it was an interesting note. I'm just saying, for somebody to say, oh no, we all hibernate like bears in the winter. No, you don't. I can say that with confidence. Anyway, but then again, every single person who I've spoke to so far who allegedly has spoke with these beings, every single person I spoke to so far says they don't quite trust what they say. That's what I've heard so far. We'll find out, won't we? Moving along. A Sasquatch woman and a white child is the title of this, continuing on in the same area, referring again to the region of Morris Mountain in British Columbia. Do I know Morris Mountain? No, I don't. I guess I'll have to look it up. Chehalis, so I'm guessing Morris Mountain is going to be near Hope, somewhere around there. When I say somewhere around there, I'm meaning within 100 miles, 100 kilometers, whatever. Excuse me. Quote, there are only a few of the wild giants living in these mountains, said Charlie in his terse Indian dialect. They are rarely seen and seldom met, but some still live in the mountains around here. I've met them on several occasions. Some of the times I saw them, nothing happened. We stood and looked at one another, but the last time was not a happy meeting, and it happened this way. Oop, here we go. Can you guys still hear me? Shit, sorry. Somebody say you can hear me loud and clear. Okay, right on. Gotcha, Bobbie. Thanks. Quote, I was hunting in the mountains and I had my dog with me. One day I came out on a plateau where there were several giant cedar trees. The dog rushed up to one of the trees and began to growl and bark. Looking up to see what excited him, I noticed a large hole in the trunk, about 7 feet from the ground. The dog kept jumping at the tree and scratching, looking around to me to lift him up. Oh, I've heard this story. I read it years ago, maybe in John Green's book or something. When I did so, he dropped down inside the hole. Then there was an awful noise. I heard the dog growling and barking and something screaming. I thought my dog must be fighting a bear, and holding my rifle at the ready, called him to drive the animal out. A moment later, something shot out of that hole. I fired at the creature. It fell to the ground. I looked at it, and then I felt sick. What I shot looked like a naked white boy about 12 years old. That'd make you sick. He was bleeding from a bullet wound in his leg. But when I stepped forward, he twisted away and let out a wild scream. From deep in the woods came a reply. Nearer and nearer came the voice, and every now and again the wounded boy would cry out as if calling directions. Then out of the forest came a Sasquatch woman. She was about 7 feet tall, built big all over, and her skin was as dark as mine. Her long, straight hair fell to her knees. She looked so big and strong that I'm sure if she had laid hands on me, she could have broken every bone in my body. When I saw her, I felt scared, and instinctively I lifted my rifle in case I had to defend myself. The wild woman ran toward the boy, bent over him, and then turned on me savagely, her eyes like balls of fire. In the Douglas dialect, she growled, "You've hurt my friend." I explained in the same language, I'm part Douglas myself, that I had mistaken the boy for a bear and was very sorry for the accident. Anyway, I pointed out he was not badly hurt. She made no reply, but picking up the boy as easily as if he weighed nothing, lifted him to her shoulder and strode out into the woods. I do not think the boy belonged to the Sasquatch people because he was white-skinned, and she called him her friend. No, she must have stolen him as a child or run across him in some other way. Wow. And then Bobbie went on to say, the story of the white boy and the Sasquatch has been referenced and embellished over time since the advent of the internet. Some believe the boy may have been the infant survivor of a light plane crash in which his touring French parents perished. Canadian newspaper reports of that day said the bodies of the plane's occupants were all found inside the remnants of a light aircraft, but the infant went unaccounted for by search and rescue parties. Did some compassionate Sasquatch family find the tiny infant crying in distress and rescue it from predators? Did they raise it as their own? In researching the source of the feral boy story, I was greatly surprised to discover the attribution was J.W. Burns and his Chehalis friend, Charlie Victor. If the story is true, the feral boy would be of adult age by now. Doesn't make you wonder about his existence and how he must have been regarded today. You know what? This is just me at the coffee table. I'm going bullshit on that one myself. Only because, I'm not going bullshit, but a lot of shit contradicts, right? First, you're hearing from the same natives that they hibernate at nighttime, or they hibernate in the wintertime. Okay, now they've got a human infant with them. I'm pretty sure the infant's not hibernating and living, but here he is, 12 years later, a grown boy in the woods with a Sasquatch person. That kills the theory of them hibernating instantly, right? Furthermore, most of the time, anyway, I won't start babbling on that. I don't know. I don't know myself, right? I don't know. It's a tough one to swallow. But I wasn't there. But it's a tough one for my gut to accept. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. And we're going to get back to hearing from the people. Now, I was sitting here scrolling through my shit, trying to find people that hadn't been heard. And I found a good handful right here of not marked as red. Now, hold on a second. Let me scroll down to the bottom where I found this patch. Maybe some have been heard, maybe not. I don't know, but it's worthy of my time, our time. If it's worthy of their time to write it in and it's not marked as red, I'm going to read it. This is titled My Story. I hate it when they start off sharing their name without saying whether or not it's okay, because then at the very end, they'll say, please don't use my name. Maybe I'll just scoot down there to the bottom right now because we're live, right? All right, well, let's hope. I'm reading it. If 3 paragraphs down you say, don't use my name, you should have put it at the top. Hi, Steve. My name is Lou Ferroni. Ferroni, Ferrone. I'm a 62-year-old male. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. My story was in July of 87 or 88, and this counter was outside of Galena, Illinois. Illinois, whatever. I cannot give an accurate location because I cannot remember the exact location. I take my uncle to visit his sister. We lived in a remote location, an old one-room brick schoolhouse. The converted house sat at a gravel road intersection. The house faced a north-south road. The front door and porch faced the west. It was about 3:30 a.m. In the home, the temperature was about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I could no longer sleep. I went out the front door to see if it was any cooler outside. The porch was on a small, about a four. The porch was small, about 4 to 5 steps from the front door to the 2 steps that led down to a sidewalk. The sidewalk stretched about 20 feet to the ditch, with 1 step down to the gravel road. It was a couple degrees cooler outside, but no relief to speak of. There were several trees in the front yard, old, tall, and plenty of shade, even in the dark. The night sky lit up to the west. Standing on the front porch, taking in the slightly cooler air, I could hear some noise coming from my right, the north side of the house. I listened for a few seconds, thinking, what is that? My car was parked on that side of the house in a driveway just off the gravel road to the east. Plenty of trees covered that side of the yard. The noise continued over there, so I walked to that side of the house. I looked down the side of the house to where my car was parked and seen nothing. And the noise stopped. The noise was just to the other side of my car, where more trees stood. It was very dark down that way. I returned to the front porch, walked up the steps to the north side of the porch. This was a concrete porch deck. I sat down, leaned up against the very warm brick, and all I wanted was a little relief from the heat and to fall asleep. I started to think about that noise and thought it must have been a raccoon or something back there. It was very short. Sorry. It was very short thought, and my mind was back on the heat. Within a minute or so, I could hear footsteps on the gravel road. I leaned forward, stretching my neck out to see over the wrought iron rail around the porch, looking to the northeast behind me. The road was very dark on that side of the house with all the big trees on that side. The walking continued to the west, then to the south, down the road in front of the house. I could hear the gravel crunching down the road, but still could not see anything. I was real curious to see who would walk way out here in the middle of nowhere. I read it the exact way it's typed, all right? It's all I can do when we're sitting here live, especially. I relaxed and sat back up against the warm brick, looking straight to the west, just ahead of the shade trees. I could see no more light in the darkness. I knew whoever was walking down that road would break into the light of the night shortly. Within a few seconds, the figure was in view and had a nice, steady, quick gait. Following this figure with my eyes, I was like, where is the clothes lines? Why is there no break in the hairline? I was in deep thought at this point, and my military training was telling me something was not right. I flashed back to my night vision and camo training. I flashed back to my night vision and camo training. It hit me that this is not right. I was almost ready to yell, hey, when fear hit me hard, and I tried to push myself into the house through the brick. Wow. I watched the figure stride down the road, not swaying its head or upper body, only leg and arms moved. The light was much brighter heading south due to the open cornfields. I could not see the wrist or any line breaks in this figure. The fear stayed with me after the figure disappeared into and behind the cornfields. I did not move for several minutes and was no longer tired. I went back into the hot house and lay in the bed thinking about what I saw until daybreak. When the sun came out, I went to the road and looked around in the gravel, and I saw prints in the gravel. I could not believe my eyes. I did get my uncle and his sister to look at the prints in the gravel, and they both could see them. I asked for a camera. She said she did not have one. I told them what I had seen last night, and neither of them said anything. It was months later, his sister moved from that area. She was in her 80s, and my uncle was in his early 70s. My uncle said he believed me. He was a World War II veteran and battle proven. I've told this story to several people over the years. Some laugh, others have nothing to say. Well, that's my story. Nothing real concrete, but yet real. Thanks for your efforts, Lou. There you go. Welcome to the club, Lou. Sorry it took so long to find your email, man. Welcome to the club. There's another one, right? I wonder how many. Like I stopped. I only a couple times I tried to add up all the emails I had in, because in the beginning it was like, holy shit. Just when I started hitting like, maybe 100 emails a week or something, and then it turned into thousands. It's crazy, right? And then I think after a year was the first year I had 20,000 emails total. I think emails were getting clogged up, and I had to pay for more space. And then I got screwed up, and I had to open up another email, and that's why there's share my story and tell my story, and then everything under my domain name just started getting loaded up. So what was that? A couple years ago, hit 20,000 emails from around the globe. Who even has a freaking clue how many now, right? But just goes to show you what happens when you give absolute free range to us, the people, right? So funny too. Remember when Rich mentioned yesterday? Was that no, the other day? Rich Jomo mentioned that group, the control freaks. They only had so many of the reports were available to the public, but they just recently started sharing them all. I can pretty well guarantee it's because of all of you, right? Because now that all of you have been speaking openly by the tens of thousands, it makes it easily make all those past control freaks look like absolute lying douchebags, right? It's not me. It's all of you. Well, and me. But that's what happens. And now they have finally had to cave in and join our party in a way, right? Me and my babbling. This thing still working? How about a little shot of caffeine? We all know I need that shit in me, right? Now, let's get another one of ours heard, shall we? One of ours meaning the people. This is titled, Steve, my Coca-Cola story for you. Sorry, Steve, my Coca-Cola story, you didn't read it, LOL. It's titled email. Well, guess what? Here it comes. Coca-Cola. So that is an area, once you leave the Fraser Valley, say Vancouver, British Columbia, and you wanted to drive to Alberta, you're going to go up the valley. You're either going to follow the Fraser River, or you're going to hang a right and go up towards the Coca-Cola Highway. All right? So that's where we're going, which is just past Hope. Hang a right. Hi, Steve. Sorry about my shitty grammar spelling. No problem. I have a learning disability, but I can tell you this. I can build a house, build guns, or fix motorcycles to trucks, LOL. Dude, it's probably saving grace you had a so-called learning disability in the public school system. That means you're going to be an instant survivor and a free human being as far as I'm concerned. Moving along. Well, I was hunting with my friends way in back off the Coca-Cola Mountains area. We had a camp set up by these old cabins. Leave that out. Too late. Anyways, we split off and went hunting alone that day, and we're to meet up at night at camp. Well, I got back before anyone, just at dark. I had my 300 Win Mag and a 17 HMR for birds or rabbit. Well, no one's here at camp. I'm alone. It's dusk. I see a rabbit. Bang, I got dinner for us. And that's when I hear a bang, something threw a rock or smacked the cabin. My hair stands up. I'm like, shit. I feel my gut tell me I'm being looked at to my right. Excuse me. My sixth sense is warning me. I grab my 300 Win Mag and my heart is pounding. I know what I heard. No one's here but me. Well, I put my gun down in fear. And then, what? Well, I put my gun down in fear. Then I felt, grab it, you idiot, lol. I then heard rocks move like a person would make walking on river rocks. I say, F this, started my truck, turned on all the lights, and drove onto the Forest Service road and went looking for my buddies. They found me on the road and questioned me why I'm not in camp with the fire. I stated I was bored and came looking for you. They are 110% non believers in this subject, and I would have been the joke at camp. I felt so uncomfortable at camp. I left that night. Nick, holy shit. Well, there you go. It's pretty tough to get across the feeling of that, the feeling, right? To somebody who's just standing there window licking, right? Welcome to the club. This doesn't sound like you're a proud member, but what do you do, right? Holy shit, there's a whole pile of unread emails in this column. Crazy. Okay, what do we got here? Well, here we go. Going in. Mark this as read. Hasty, please leave out my last name. Just call me MASH. Okay. First off, just want to say thank you for helping people all over the world deal with their experiences. No problem. It's too easy. I'm an adult onset hunter. Onset hunter. Don't know what that means. Been teaching myself bow hunting for the last 5 years with very little success. I look up to you as a mentor, even though we've never met. I admire your never quit attitude and zero F's given to negative criticism. I'm also a proud Canadian, so we share common opinions on politics. It's bullshit. Got your How to Hunt app, and I'm counting down the days to next hunting season. Stumbled onto your hunting videos before the Sasquatch videos while trying to gain as much knowledge as possible on hunting in the outdoors. I've always wanted to hunt and always felt an instinctual draw to nature. My uncles hunted when I was growing up and taught me a few things, but they lived far away and visits were few. Anyways, I have some short stories. Okie dokie, here we go. It takes place smack in between Ottawa and Montreal. The area is covered with farms, lots of rolling hills with fields broken up by good chunks of woods and creeks. It's a well populated area, but large wildlife can move through it all the time without being detected. For example, I lived there for 18 years growing up, and I saw a moose cross the road only once. Most people don't even know moose lived there. So the house I was living in was on a bending corner of a road. The next closest occupied house is about a 6-minute walk away. I was about 16, 17 years old, and I got in my car to go somewhere. I pulled out of the driveway and started making my way around the bend when I saw something on the road. The first thought that came into mind was hyena. It was on all fours and was running away from me, but in the same direction. So I was seeing it from the back. I only saw it for maybe 3 seconds before it did a hard right into the woods on the right of the road. What I remember, it had caramel colored fur with dark spots. Its ass was lower than its front, so it had a very hyena look. It was only about 2.5 or 3 feet tall, but it was very bulky / wide shouldered and had thick limbs, unlike the lanky long limbs of a wolf. These were thick limbs. I don't remember seeing a tail or paws because it was so quick. Excuse me. Being in the country, dogs roaming around weren't uncommon. So I rationalized it up to being an effed up or injured dog and didn't think too much about it. This same area, but a different time, I saw an egg / blimp shaped object in the sky moving against the direction the clouds were moving. It was the same color as the clouds. I took my eyes off for a minute, and when I looked back, it was gone. But the other clouds were still there. Last story. I was living and working in Sun Peaks, BC. I'd often go into the woods and build forts and teepees and work on bushcraft skills with the dead trees in the area. I went up to a favorite spot one day when a bunch of hiking tourists I passed said they saw a black bear in the direction I was heading. I saw black bears all the time, and I said, "Thank you for the heads up," and carried on. I got off the trails and to my spot in the woods. I was taking my tools out of my pack when I heard movement in the woods in front of me. The hair all over my body stood on end. It got closer, and I could hear heavy breathing. I could eventually smell it too. I described the smell like smelling musty, hot dirt with just a hint of body odor. This thing was effing close. My guess, maybe 15 feet away, but the trees were so thick, I never saw the thing. I'm about 85% sure it was a bear, but I never saw it, so I can't be sure. I packed my shit and hauled ass out of there in a controlled, orderly manner. Anyway, that's all I got. Feel free to share my story, but only use my first name, please. I know you're a busy man with a life to live, so don't feel bad if you can't respond or read it online. I want to be as prepared as I can for everything life throws at me, and gaining knowledge on the subject helps me when going into the woods alone because I don't hunt with too many other people. It's kind of religious for me when I hunt / go into the woods, and the presence of others can bother me sometimes. I can relate to that. Well, I'm rambling. Keep doing what you're doing while it's still legal. Freedoms are under attack from all directions these days. Stay positive, stay humble, stay wild and free. My friend in the East Kootenays. East Kootenays, there you go. You're in the, wow. I don't even know why I say that anymore. Well, you're right in the middle of ground zero when it comes to places in BC. These beings can and do and show up anywhere and all the time, right? There's no way avoiding it. Well, I shouldn't say there's no way avoiding, but there's no way around that fact. I just got a text from the big boss saying that it's breakfast, but I don't think she knows I'm live. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to send her a text back that I'm live on here and I'm not ready to come back in. Wow, I threw my brain off. Shit. What was I going to say? Damn it. So that's what shitty thing about going live. You come up with a thought and you blank out and you need a minute to figure it out again. Meanwhile, you got a lot of people sitting here with their valuable time waiting on your ass. So I'm going to go straight to hearing from more of our people. Okay, what's this one? Holy shit, this one's an encyclopedia. That ain't happening right now. Not enough time. If I'd have found it right away, I would have been all over it. Sorry, you guys, but this is what I got to do, right? I got to go down here and find one. It's funny how many people apologize in advance for the length of their email. And then I scroll down and it's like, this is nothing. It's like 2 minutes. So here we go. Listen to this. Steve, thanks so much for what you do daily. I'm so sorry to hear about the loss. Okay, there's been a horse. Apologize for long email. My story starts. My story starts at about 4 years old. I was spending the night with my grandparents. They lived about 5 miles from anyone down a sand road in an old-time wood frame house. My grandfather raised 5 boys, which all served in the military and was tough as they come outdoorsmen. I couldn't even imagine feeding 5 boys. Holy shit, that's a lot of food. We went to bed at our normal time, about 1 a.m. All of a sudden, there was something that slammed the side of the house. I vividly remember waking to this even today. That was 60 years ago. My grandmother came running in the room, scooped me up, and took me to the center of the house we went. My granddad had his old Ivor Johnson double barrel going from window to window, peering into the darkness, looking down the barrel, trying to see what was there. Holy shit. That's a sign that they know what's up. When you got the gun up already and you're going window to window, you know it's more than a stupid bear. My grandparents were so upset, they called my younger uncles to bring guns and lights. I remember them coming in with guns and lights, and all the men went out looking for whatever it was. The next morning, I woke up to my granddad sitting in his chair with a shotgun on his lap. My uncles returned, and they went, quote, hunting, end quote, for about an hour or so. When they returned, they were talking about huge tracks they had found. This almost sounds familiar. It might have been read before, maybe. But here we go. Fast forward, when I was about 10 years old at my other grandparents' home, which was about 20 miles from the nearest town, again spending the night, I was awakened by heavy breathing. Being on a farm, I first thought Papa's old mule had gotten loose and was grazing close to the house. I was sleeping within 2 feet of a screened window and couldn't go to sleep for the breathing. I finally turned over to face the window, opened my eyes to look outside the window, to be totally amazed. Standing there was a huge creature with red, orange eyes glowing, his forearm resting on the eave of the house, and he was leaned over, looking in the window. I was frozen, not so much fear, but in wonder. Seems like I remember a skunk smell, but I just stared at this thing, knowing why my grandparents would not let us play outside after dark. Excuse me. Just like most rural families in our area were told, the boogers would get you. They are real. Anyone tells you different, they are afraid of their reality being shattered. I've never let this stop me from going into the woods, as I have been an avid outdoorsman all my life, and I've taken 5 whitetails this year. I'll never go in the woods without the thought of them. I have more experiences, but that's for another time. Okay, man. You got more. I want to hear about it. I'm sorry might have took a long time to hear this. But it is what it is, right? It is what it is. At least we finally got to it. Everybody gets got to. Everybody gets got to. Now, how long have it been here? It hasn't been that long, has it? Anybody know? Is there a timer on this stupid thing? Haven't a clue. Not that I've ever really given a shit. We sat here for an hour? No. Serious? What do you think? Anybody know? Not that I give a flying shit how long it has been an hour? No way. Weird. It's almost like, you know what's really weird? I don't time ever. I don't have a minimum or a maximum. I don't give a flying shit how long I sit here. But it's funny to watch your internal clock go off, because then you'll post up a video and it'll say it's like 57 minutes or an hour and 10 or an hour and 3. And it's funny how the internal clock says, well, it's been an hour. You should probably go and do your chores. Right? But anyway, what the hell was I going to say? Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. My brain blanks out. I never write shit down. I probably should, right? But anyway, how's it going out there? Prepper, appreciate you. Huge. What is going on in the world? Anybody? I wish too bad everybody just couldn't talk with voice here, right? It'd be so much easier. But I feel like if any, I don't know how many people have been sitting from the beginning, but how many of you? What's your gut telling you? Do you think that maybe possibly a trigger's going to be pulled and there's going to be armed foreign troops on your street corners? Does anybody think that's valid? Let me read it right now. What do you think? What do you guys think? What's your gut telling you? Got a handful of yeses. Possible. Yep. 100%. Couple 100% absolutely. Wow. Well, there we go. People are speaking, right? Yeah, it would be sad, wouldn't it? Huh. Well, I wonder if that goes down. They're already here. Yeah, I think so too. Mm-mm-mm. You know what? Okay, we're just talking. Remember that movie, The Wolverines, or whatever it's called? I don't think it was called. No, it's called. You remember that old movie with Patrick Swayze and everybody, right? Remember that? Um, Not in America. I don't know, man. If anywhere first is going to be in America with what's happened in the southern border. Red Dawn. That's right, Red Dawn. But when you think about, I was thinking about it today, not today, but I was thinking in the past. In the past, like, all right, you just try to look at it. I just try to look at everything like a possibility. Everything's a possibility. Just the fact we're alive is crazy, but everything is a possibility. So then you actually sometimes I daydream and I talk to myself all the time, all day. Just obviously, right? When I'm doing shit, my chores and some topics will hit up my brain and I'll have a conversation about it. I try to deem it as valid or not. But let's just say we're talking like this is a movie. How the F would we rally today secretively and successfully if something like that went down? Think about it. And I mean, think about it. How'd you do it? Right? You couldn't do it via these frickin' things. You couldn't. If you were smart and on your game, you would never even speak about this topic within, I don't know how many feet of one of these things or the laptop. You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it near your smart TV. You probably couldn't do it within your vehicle if you have a newer one, which I don't have, and I never will. But how would you do it? Right? How would you do it? And then you got to trust people to keep their frickin' mouth shut as you're trying to rally, right? How many people can keep their frickin' mouth shut for real? You know what I mean? Like it would be fairly tough. It'd be fairly tough, and especially today when not too many people are out there talking to people physically in their community. Everybody's banging away on these damn screens, right? It makes it even awkward for somebody to go and speak to somebody in person, especially if there's a stranger. Remember when I was growing up, it's normal to go up to somebody's house and bang on their door. It's normal for whatever. Not now. You go back, bang on somebody's door right now, you're going to probably scare the shit out of them more than anything, right? How would you do it? But anyways, just think about that. If that many people are absolutely certain this is going to go down, then for all of you who are certain, your gut is screaming for sure, I would strongly suggest you figure out how you're going to communicate right now. Right? I'm just talking as if this is fantasy. Okay, guys, I'm talking as if it's fantasy, but I like to cross all my T's and dot my I's beforehand with whatever shit show maybe show up. And I have. I have. And I do have a close group of friends who could take care of business already. But think about it right now. For all you people who might not even know your frickin' neighbor, how would you organize and speak to your friends about how to deal with these armed douchebags on the corner of your community street, possibly pointing guns at your neighbor? How are you going to rally and talk to your friends? How are you going to communicate smoothly? Ever thought about that? You probably should. And I'm talking to the people who are absolutely convinced this shit show might go down. If you're convinced, well, hopefully you're getting on it. Right? I'm not saying it's happening. I haven't a clue. But I'm talking directly to people who feel this is going to happen. You need to quit. I wouldn't wait. As I'm saying, I wouldn't wait to move on those thoughts, just in case you are right. Hopefully you're wrong. But if you're right, you better have your circle of trust sewn up now, or ASAP. That's all I'm saying. You better have your circle of trust sewn up so you can deal. And don't be a sheep ever. It's happened. The DNA is still existing on the planet of people who marched people into a train car and shipped them to their death and stripped their clothes off of them, stacked their shoes and shit in a pile and put them in those showers and snuffed them out. And they all followed each other single file. Beyond me, how they did that, you would never, ever ever get me to walk in single file to my doom no matter what. I'd rather take the gun to my chest, fighting with the prick when he first comes to try to steer me in line with the sheep, right? Ever let that happen again in this lifetime? And yes, it did happen. And the DNA of those responsible for that shit show still flows through communities today. Take for what you will, leave it, but it happened before, right? I guess people have inadvertently been slightly possibly marched to their death today anyway, via one of those ones, which if you follow what's going on today, that's all come out true. They've all admitted it publicly. It was a mistake. Anyway, it's another topic. I'm just saying, I guess I shared that seed, that one little shelf thought in the back of my brain about the blue helmets possibly having the trigger pulled in our communities. But if you look at the evidence, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But sadly, it seems to be possible. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not ashamed or embarrassed to bring that topic out publicly. Why would I be embarrassed or hesitant to do that when it just keeps coming up? A topic just seems to be coming up a lot. So, and you get some prick truther like me who ain't scared of shit, and I'm going to share it. Shared. Another thing on that topic of truth speaking people, the ones that I respect and I know of, I don't know of all of them, but the ones who I do respect and know of, one thing they all share in common is financially, they don't have to. You know, with how they're set up in their life, they're successful people. They don't have to spend 10 minutes online. They don't have to. There's no need for them. They can't benefit in any way. You know, a lot of them, sure, you make a couple bucks, big deal. Got to pay the bills. But the majority of the truth people that I listen to, they're successful people and they honestly give a shit. And they don't seem, I'm just talking about the, what seems to be the common denominator in people who continue to push truth and buck against the bullshit system. One thing I noticed with the ones that I follow, they don't have quit in them. Number one, they don't have quit in them. Number two, they're not scared. Maybe number one should be, they don't have to spend time doing this. They don't. Right? That's a big donation of their life and time to bring awareness. They obviously give a shit about community. That's another common denominator. They give a shit about all you and all of us. Right? So a lot of people out there who may knee-jerk react to blowing a gasket and shitting on the messenger, you might want to back it up a few steps and realize that the messenger doesn't have to be the fucking messenger. They're here because they give a shit about you, even though they don't know your miserable ass. They're not truth sharing people are not bringing grief into your life. They're not. They actually care about you. Whether or not you agree with how they feel or not, they care about you. And you can confirm that by just look at how successful they are. They don't need to do this shit. They do it because they give a shit. They can't stop themselves. There you go. It's weird. It's a funny ride. It's like myself. You know, I worked my ass off. You know, I was almost saying one day we should always have everybody should list off what they've done for themselves for a living in their lifetime. It'd be kind of interesting and funny. I mean, mine would be kind of, mine starts off kind of funny, but what have I done for a living? I started my very first thing I ever did to make money. What would it have been? Probably babysitting a couple times. And then I was 15 years old. I remember my dad said something like, you're going to be 16 and financially on your own. I didn't know what the hell that meant. It scared the shit out of me, but it took me a while to figure out that myself and my older sister were basically just a pain in the ass to him and his new wife. But anyway, all my friends were getting jobs at all the fast food places, you know, pizza delivery and A&W and McDonald's and all that. And then a friend of mine down the road got a job at McDonald's. And then I went and got a job at McDonald's. My first job I ever had was at frickin' McDonald's, believe it or not. Obviously, you know how it's going to end and how long it lasted. Then what happened? My oldest sister, typical Norwegian girl, blonde hair, blue eyes, hot chick. And she went and got a job there too. And then they started calling her Blue Eyes. And they got those little Nazis in the back of the thing, and they called the people at the till, it's your window or something. Come on, windows, let's go. And they started comparing at the end of the day that I wasn't making as much money as my sister and calling her Blue Eyes. Somebody said, "Hey, Blue Eyes," to her, and I turned around and Blue Eyes, and then he snapped at me, gave me attitude. But mind you, I was only there for like 3 weeks. And I told him to ram it his ass and that stupid little fold-up hat, went and got that embarrassing uniform off and walked out the door. So that was my first job. So obviously I've had a shitty attitude since for a young age. So then what did I do? Then I started splitting firewood, selling it, and started tying fishing lures and packaging them for 12 cents a lure. And all I spent the money on was arrows for my bow and fishing gear. That's it. Then what did I do? Actually, this is going to take a while. Maybe I should even crack this open. What I'm getting at is I worked my ass off. Somebody blew a gasket on me the other day. You got a 68 Camaro and you're going on holidays. I'm like, maybe you want to look at my feed. I bought that Camaro. The very first video I ever put on YouTube was my Camaro when I bought it. Worked my frickin' ass off. Contracting, hanging off ropes and Whistler on a sheet metal roofs and -20 in the wintertime year round, working my dick off. And I paid for everything. I haven't borrowed a dime since I was 24 years old. That was when I realized the bank was evil. And I worked my dick off. And I paid cash for every single thing since. And I don't owe a dime to anybody because I realized they'll never have that control on me. What I'm saying is, myself included, I don't need to sit here. I worked my ass off all my life. And I've set myself up to be as free as I can and safe. I don't need to sit here. And all the truthers that I know they're sharing with you today, they don't need to sit here. They only do it because they give a shit about all you. That's it. That's it. So quit lashing out if you lash out. Now, what am I going to do now? I got to go. Right? I got to go. I got to go and sling freaking 100-pound bales. The easiest way for me to do it is to fire them over this 5-foot stall fence. Whatever. I'm going to go do that. I got to go sling, I don't know how many of this 100-pound bale solo today. I do that. Carrying around more shit. I'm going to get a hold of, hopefully, Mr. Richard Hucklebridge gets a hold of me and wants to do the video with me here to share with you because I really want to look forward to. I am going to go at the topic of communication smooth. I don't give a shit if you're getting grunts back and forth once a week. I don't care. I don't care about that. I don't care if you've had your name screamed out from the woods 500 yards away a year and a half ago. I don't care. All I care about right now is smooth communication with answers given back and forth. That's what I am absolutely interested in right now. I don't give a shit what you eat. I don't care how many windows you looked in. I don't give a shit how big your foot is. I don't care. I want to right now, my focus, my gut is screaming at me to look into this communication end of it. That's going to be a big puzzle piece for me. And obviously I'm going to share everything I learned with you guys as I go, right? So then we'll take it from there. How's that for a babble this morning? How's that for a babble? Anyway, for all you people who might come online and want to shoot a messenger, a truth speaker, you might want to take a couple steps backward and figure out what their motivation is. Right? They're doing it because they give a shit about you. There we go. Oh, now I wonder what, you know what? I looked when I thought I've only done this live thing a handful of times, but I see that all these live videos are in one place on the YouTube channel. And I don't think they are visible or available to a lot of people's eyes who aren't even going to know I went live today. I wonder if they're ever going to see it. So what I'm asking is, do I need to load this video onto the regular column on the channel after this? I don't know, because I think this video just stays in the live category of the channel, if I make any sense. Because it'd be kind of shitty for a lot of people to come onto the channel and see that there's no video and not know to look at the live part. So Should I be loading this later on to the do I reload it or not? Or just let it rip here? Hell if I know, Chris. Yeah, hell if I know too, man. Automatically goes live on your channel. Yes, would be great. Post under community tab. Okay, Alan, I'll do that. That's easy. Maybe it could not hurt Simone. Yeah, I guess so. It's too easy, right? Maybe I will. I'll do it after I slug some. Yeah, screw it. It's a big deal. It's only gonna take me a minute. I'll reload this video onto the regular part of the channel after I go eat my breakfast, which is cold. And after I go sling some hay bales. All right, there you go. So, what should we take from today? You better figure out who's in your circle to trust, right? I would suggest that strongly to anybody listening today. Figure out who's in your circle of trust in your community. Do you even know anybody in your community? Have you ever spoke to anybody in your community? Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? What else? I try to share this daily. Don't ever be scared of shit. Never. Do not be scared. Right? Some asshole from a foreign country shows up in your street corner, kick him in the nuts as hard as you can. Take his gun from him. Ram it up his ass. Right? Okay, I gotta go. I'm gonna go. I could sit here and babble all day with everybody. I just wish everybody could talk back. But that would just sound like a garbled frickin' shopping mall at Christmas, wouldn't it? Okay, I gotta go. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'll be back again tomorrow. I'm gonna raise some frickin' shit, I'll tell you what. Buck against the system and tell all the pricks to ram it up their buttholes. Later.